Sometime, somebody, somewhere, will ask you to give an impromptu speech. And for most people, that brings up terrifying images of being on stage and freezing up and not knowing what to say. Well, here's a couple of tips in order to get around that problem. The first thing you want to do, if you're asked to give an impromptu speech, is try to run away. Just kidding. What you want to do is find out exactly what topic they want you to speak on. And hopefully it's a topic that you know a little bit about. Because once you have identified the topic, then you can go ahead and mentally start to make things click. Now, what happens if you have absolutely no preparation time at all? Someone says, Reed, I want you to speak on this. Go ahead and talk. And you get up and you have no time to prepare. That's not going to happen very often, but if you're thrown into that circumstance, here's a couple of things you can do. If you have a microphone, say, what do people know about this? And go ahead and get some answers from the crowd. When you do this, what you're doing is you're vamping for time. And sometimes they'll come up with a better idea, and this gives you a chance to go ahead and take what they have just given you and come up with an answer to their question. Somebody might be saying, I don't know anything about mortgages. Great. Let's go ahead and define what a mortgage is, what type of mortgages you should get, and what the best ways to shop for a mortgage are. What you've just done is by asking questions, you can tweak the speech into something that's easier for you to answer. And it gives you a little bit of time to vamp. Also realize most people are desperately looking for you to not be terrible. They want you to be funny. They want you to be informative. They want you to do well. And so once you have that out of your mind, that people are rooting for you, you've got a team, you can go ahead and ask for help from the audience. What's just happened is, whew, I don't have all the pressure. I can just be who I am. I can go ahead and talk about whatever I want to talk about, as long as I keep it short, and get off the stage and everybody's going to love it. That's all you have to realize. Once you do that, a lot of weight is lifted off your shoulders. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be sort of good, and people will love it. Should you be funny? Should you be serious? If you're funny, great. Make use of that. If you're not funny, don't tell a joke. Only tell a joke if it's going to illustrate a concept in the speech. Only tell a joke if it's going to help you deliver a better speech. If you just throw a joke in that has absolutely no relation to anything in the speech, it really looks lame. And comedy is something that, if it's done right, is great. If it's done poorly, it really, really, really is bad. So don't try to do jokes if you're not funny. You can go ahead and have a humorous moment. You can go ahead and use self-deprecating humor, but don't ever make fun of anybody in the audience. Next, you want to go ahead and not just involve people in the audience by asking them questions. You might want to reference somebody in the audience and bring them into the equation to build their credibility and also to allow you to look like the expert. Also, you want to build up your own credibility. If you're an expert on the topic, go ahead and mention why you're an expert on the topic. Tell your story. Remember, keep it short. Only tell those things that are relevant to what you're talking about. Now, when you're telling the topic, you want to go ahead and define the topic and tell what you're going to say about it, and then do that and summarize what you've just said. So tell people what you're going to say it, tell people what you just said. You always want to have a defining tagline or headline that tells people this is what the topic is going to be about. At the end, you want to have a defining tagline, and this was the solution. If you ask people a question, this is what we're going to be talking about, and then you don't answer it, it looks as if you didn't know what you were talking about, as if you weren't prepared. Now, if this is an impromptu speech, guess what? You weren't prepared. But you can always fake it by defining what you're going to speak on, asking the question, and then answering it. What happens if, in the middle of your speech, you blank? You totally freeze up. You don't know what to talk about. This is when you can go ahead and do a little bit of self-deprecating humor with the audience. Folks, I just blanked. Now, what was I talking about again? And ask for help from the audience. People will gladly go ahead and help you. They might even laugh. And this allows you to go ahead and gather a few seconds, say, oh yeah, that's what I was talking about, and move on. Don't ever be terrified. Remember, the people there, they're rooting for you. Finally, at the end, thank the people that asked you to speak. You can even be sincere there. Tell what you're saying, what you've talked about, do your tagline, and get off the stage. I'd rather have you be shorter rather than longer.